Good morning. So nice to have you watch us on 3+U today. I'm sitting here with Tiffany Ahlberg from Ahlberg Audiology. And truth be told, before the show began to start, we were talking kind of mom to mom. Summer's here.
Summer's here.
Everyone's going to have a good time, we hope, this summer. And as fun as it can be, even for the dads out there mowing the grass, you do have to be a little bit careful when it comes to your hearing, right?
It is such a noisy world. In summer, we are all in noisy environments. You know, in the winter, we're at home, we're watching TV more, doing quiet activities, and summer happens, and we're outside, we're weed eating, and we're mowing the yard, and we're going to concerts, and there's fireworks, and, you know, there's just things everywhere. My son, for example, went to a concert a couple of weeks ago, and he came home and he said, "Mom, my ears have rang for 3 days," and I feel like a failure as an audiologist mom, because I try to convince my kids to wear hearing protection, but when you're around those noises, you're causing damage, and I think that it's really hard to understand that sometimes, especially when you're a kid. You feel like you're invincible and like it's not going to happen to you.
You have preached that lesson well, actually, in your time here, because I was talking to my 19-year-old daughter not long ago, and she had gone somewhere and it was really loud, and she had been kind of sharing the advice of make sure you wear earplugs, and she said not everybody has a mom like you, Mom, who has, as I've told her whole life, thanks to you, about being careful of those things. But even benign things like cutting the grass can do it over time.
Yes, I mean, so cutting the grass, I mean, you're looking at 95 to 100 dB, and anything over 85 for, a certain amount of time can cause hearing loss. So a hairdryer is louder than that. So it's a lower level than what people think that can cause hearing loss.
Okay, let me ask you this, because I said that we've been sitting here happy for summer. There was a little bit of a kinda in there, because parents everywhere are happy for the reprieve of school in the summer, but then the schedules change, and all of a sudden home is a very shared space in a different kind of way. So I had a conversation with my husband on the way in this morning. He works from home, and I said maybe it'd be a good idea for your meetings and stuff to start wearing AirPods, because the noise reverberates and we're all home. But maybe I shouldn't have given him that advice, because is that going to be bad for his hearing to wear those AirPods?
So the neat thing about Apple is that you can have a noise limiter on the Apple products. So you can go under the health section, and you can implement that. So that's kind of neat to have.
Okay.
So AirPods are not terrible.
Okay.
It's just how loud are you? Just everything in moderation is okay.
Is okay.
Yes.
What about a lot of people now are going to be out on the water a lot? Does swimming affect your hearing at all if water gets in your ears?
So it's not going to affect your hearing, but I had a guy yesterday who told me he fell twice off of a knee board and busted his eardrum, so that could affect your hearing. Water in itself doesn't. But whenever you're dealing with water that is not treated, chlorinated, then there's always the possibility of swimmer's ear, which is an outer ear infection. So that's a whole different story, but that is definitely something that happens more in summer months, warm months. So one of the little tricks that I tell people if they are susceptible to that is you can use a solution like a 50% alcohol vinegar, so 50%, just half and half, and put it in the ears anytime you're exposed to water that's not treated.
Half and half, rubbing alcohol and white vinegar, distilled vinegar.
Yes.
Interesting. What about air travel? You know how our ears pop when we take off and land?
Yeah, the popping again is not, that's just your pressure equalization between your middle ear and your outer ear. So your middle ear is trying to equalize to the pressure of what's happening outside. So that pressure variable is something that naturally occurs, and we pop our ears or we chew gum. So all of those things are good. The air travel, the biggest thing is like if you sit next to the engines and you hear the roaring. So that can be that can be above that 85 dB.
Right.
So that is the only thing that would affect the hearing.
Okay, so back to your son. He went to this concert and said, "Mom, my ears have been ringing for 3 days."
I tried to get him to take earplugs.
I know,
but he's too cool for that.
You've told me that you keep them in your pocketbook in case y'all are ever out anywhere.
Yes.
And you can just have a little sponge in it, right?
I know, but kids think they're too cool for that.
So what happened at the end of 3 days? Did it finally quit?
I mean, so you have a temporary threshold shift. So your ears will ring. You have caused damage to those hair cells. It does return mostly back to normal, but that does not undo the damage that is there.
So is it kind of like a sunburn? If you get a really bad sunburn, your skin's never the same?
That's a great analogy, yes.
Okay. Oh, thanks. So if you've ever experienced that ringing sound from a loud exposure, there's some degree of damage done, and
Yes.
you just don't want to keep building on it.
Yes, that is absolutely true.
Okay. If you are a person who has no choice but to be around these kind of consistent noises, the little sponges might not be sufficient. Like, should you get the moldable?
So the
things?
sponges, you're looking at what is the NRR rating. So every form of hearing protection, OSHA requires that they list what their NRR is. That's your noise reduction rating.
Okay.
So they're going to range anywhere from 17 dB, I mean, maybe even lower, to 32, 33 dB. So some of those spongy molds can be 33 dB. I have those in the office, but you have to put them in exactly right. So that requires lifting up your ear, rolling that little thing into the smallest form possible, putting it into the ear canal, letting it expand. And so at that point, it's 33 dB of attenuation, which is wonderful, but you have to be consistent and compliant with how you put it in.
So I see a lot of people in my neighborhood when they're doing yard work, and there's kind of like a team of people, and they often wear ear like muffs type of things, headphones.
Those are perfect. Those work. Those can have really high noise reduction ratings. You know, the thing to watch out about those is if you're wearing sunglasses, something that causes a gap in the fit of those muffs, then that can let noise in, so you're not getting that full noise reduction rating.
Okay, so the lesson of today, school's out, but our lesson of today is that hearing loss is not something that only shows its ugly head as we get older.
Right.
It can occur at any age.
That is right.
Okay.
Yes.
So maybe go buy those little sponges and look for it to say 33. That's kind of your magic number.
Well, I mean, that's going to be your best. Anything, it depends on the amount of noise that you're going to be around.
Okay, so maybe if you want to have this conversation with your kids and you know you're going to get the eye roll, oh mom, you don't know what you're talking about, you could lead into it with a joke. You can find Tiffany at the information that you just saw there in Cleveland and in Athens, but we do dad jokes of the week, right? So here is your dad joke of the week, courtesy of our good friend Jason Wright. Thanks, Tiffany.
You're welcome.
Your dad joke of the week, brought to you by West Yellow Knife Trading Post.
Hi there, and welcome to this week's installment of the Dad Joke of the Week. You know, I just learned the best way to burn 1,000 calories. I left the pizza in the oven way too long. And I tell you a construction joke, well, I'm still working on it. Thank you.
Jason, come on, that was bad, really bad. Anyway, for something